Modern national defense relies on physical infrastructure, server farms, and hardened silos. Yet the most vulnerable asset in any advanced military program is tacit knowledge. This is the unwritten, experiential expertise held exclusively in the minds of elite researchers. If one key individual flickers and dies, the entire network of research they support rapidly degrades with them. Between the fall of 2023 and early 2026, the United States scientific community experienced a severe statistical anomaly. 10 highly cleared aerospace engineers, nuclear technicians, and defense researchers either vanished without a trace or were found dead under unusual circumstances. Look at the geography of these cases. Several of the missing individuals were directly tied to high-security installations, including the Los Alamos National Laboratory, the historical birthplace of the atomic bomb, and a current nerve center for nuclear weapons research. A hostile nation can hack a server and steal terabytes of classified schematics, but without the specific scientists who understand how to apply that data, the stolen blueprints are often useless. Eliminating the human expert ensures the adversary's progress stalls, paralyzing the application of the technology entirely. Take the case of Monica Reza. She was an aerospace engineer and a technical fellow at Aerojet Rocketdyne, where she co-invented a specialized superalloy for advanced rocket propulsion. On June 22, 2025, while hiking the heavily trafficked Mount Waterman Trail with experienced companions, she stepped out of sight and vanished. No trace of her has been found. 8 months later, retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCasland walked out of his home in Albuquerque. He left behind his phone, his prescription glasses, and his wearable tech. He has not been seen since. These two cases intersect. Before his retirement, McCasland was the commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. From that post, he directly oversaw the defense funding for the exact rocket materials program that Monica Reza was leading. Other disappearances in this cluster carry troubling forensic signatures. In June 2025, Melissa Casius, an administrative assistant at Los Alamos holding high-level security clearances, also went missing. Investigators discovered that her personal and work mobile devices had been deliberately wiped to factory settings right before she disappeared. People do walk away from their lives. Mental health crises and personal tragedies happen in every profession. We have to ask if these digital wipes and abandoned tracking devices point to a string of severe psychological breakdowns, or if we are looking at the operational footprint of a surgical strike on American innovation. Targeting scientists is a documented strategy. Throughout the 1980s, the British defense contractor GEC Marconi experienced its own wave of anomalies. Over 8 years, 25 scientists and engineers working for the firm died in highly unusual ways, from car crashes to sudden, bizarre suicides. Those scientists were working on components for the Strategic Defense Initiative, a proposed missile defense system designed to intercept incoming nuclear warheads. Sabotaging that specific technology was a primary goal for Soviet intelligence at the time, providing a clear geopolitical motive for the deaths. A similar pattern emerged in India between 2009 and 2013, when 11 nuclear scientists and engineers died unnaturally. In one incident, 2 engineers working on the Arihant, India's first indigenous nuclear-powered submarine, were found dead on railway tracks near the Vishakhapatnam Naval Yard. That pattern stretches back to the very foundation of India's nuclear ambitions. In January 1966, Dr. Homi Bhabha, the chief architect of the Indian nuclear program, died when his commercial flight crashed into the Swiss Alps. The crash happened just days after the death of India's prime minister. Key debris from the aircraft was never recovered from the ice. For decades, intelligence insiders have pointed to that crash as a deliberate act of sabotage intended to delay India's nuclear testing. We don't have to rely on Cold War theories or unrecovered flight recorders to prove this strategy exists. In 2020, Iranian nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh was assassinated using a satellite-controlled AI-assisted machine gun. He was just one of multiple Iranian experts systematically eliminated to cripple their enrichment programs. Eliminating the human node works. It is a proven, historically effective playbook for crippling an adversary's technological capabilities without ever dropping a bomb on a facility. This visualization shows a statistical concept called Simpson's paradox. When you isolate a small, specific group, like American aerospace engineers holding top-secret clearances. A string of 10 deaths and disappearances looks like a tightly clustered, undeniable anomaly. But watch what happens when we pull back. If you expand the sample size to include the millions of scientists and engineers working globally across all disciplines, those 10 localized tragedies spread out. Within the massive, normalized distribution curve of the general population, this cluster becomes statistically inevitable background noise. Sociologists point to the natural selection of bad science theory. The modern scientific system incentivizes rapid publication and demands flawless results, creating a high-pressure environment that routinely pushes researchers to their psychological limits. For scientists holding top-level security clearances, that baseline stress is multiplied. They cannot discuss their daily challenges with peers or family. They face severe legal and professional consequences for a single security breach or project failure, and their personal finances and private lives are subject to constant, intrusive surveillance. We have to evaluate whether these defense programs are being dismantled by a shadow intelligence agency striking at specific targets, or if the individuals themselves are collapsing under the immense, crushing weight of the classified work. From a purely strategic standpoint, the cause barely matters. Whether an aerospace engineer is pushed to the breaking point by systemic stress or eliminated by a foreign state, the result is identical. High-value human capital is lost, and the project they were leading comes to a halt. Geopolitical warfare no longer requires crossing physical borders or occupying territory. The modern front lines are drawn inside laboratories and server rooms, fought over the minds of the people designing the next generation of defense technology. Modern weapon systems take decades to develop and rely on highly specialized, compartmentalized knowledge. Removing just one or two key administrators or lead researchers can paralyze a multi-billion-dollar program, setting national defense timelines back by years. The disappearances of General McCasland, Monica Reza, and their colleagues are still active mysteries. Federal and local investigations are ongoing, searching for any concrete trace of the researchers who vanished. Until we know exactly what happened to these scientists, the systems that protect them remain exposed. The fragile human architecture that holds up our modern technological power is unguarded, and the people building the future are at risk.